Dance, ballerina, dance, and do your pirouette in rhythm with your aching heart.
In 18 years of dancing with the Royal Ballet, I've danced a host of different roles, from porcelain princess one night to wanton whore the next. Just one question though, why is practically every woman I dance created by a man? Frederick Ashton, George Balanchine, Kenneth Macmillan, William Forsyth and Marius Petipa have all had a huge influence on classical ballet over the last century, and they're all men. I want to take a look at how each of them makes the ballerina dance, because when you look at a woman on stage, you see her through men's eyes. Marius Petipa's Sleeping Beauty was choreographed just over 100 years ago, in 1890, for the Imperial Ballet in Russia. It was based on an earlier French story. The original fairy tale of the Sleeping Beauty, written by a man, has an ideal woman as its heroine. At Princess Aurora's christening, the fairy godmothers line up to present her with all the qualities a good girl needs: beauty, an even temper, grace, the ability to sing, dance, play an instrument. The list reads like a finishing school diploma. The author didn't want to overload her with anything as troublesome as intelligence. After all, she's a princess, and she's got a wardrobe to die for. This whole get-up, point shoes, tutu, tiara, is probably what every little girl is dreaming about when she says she wants to be a ballerina. Well, it might all look gorgeous, but it's not exactly the most comfortable outfit in my wardrobe. It feels like a tight corset, and by constricting my movement, gives me the formality and restraint required in 19th century ballet. The stiff net of the skirt limits the way the prince can partner me. Not much contact below the waist. The tutu may look old-fashioned now, but it was rather risque in its time, revealing far more of the dancer's legs than ever before. And Aurora's costume wasn't the only thing about her that was new. Petipa's Aurora is intelligent, eloquent, passionate and powerful, and the challenge for me is to reflect these qualities in the way I dance. Can I do the first balances, guys? Sorry. Immediately after my first entrance, I have to perform the Rose Adagio, a danced portrait of Aurora on her 16th birthday. At first I'm shy and uncertain in the presence of 4 handsome suitors, but my steps become bolder and more joyous as I gain confidence, ending with a daring sequence of balances which are every ballerina's nightmare. Balancing on point like this is agony, but the really terrifying thing about the Rose Adagio is that it's so symmetrical, so balanced and contained that the smallest mistake is obvious to the audience. Leaning Tower of Pisa. Thank you, guys.
Have a good one.
Good luck. For me, and for every ballerina around the world, the Rose Adagio is the balletic equivalent of the Grand National. The virtuosity required by Marius Petipa's choreographic tricks sometimes turns ballet into a circus act. Fortunately, Frederick Ashton, the founder choreographer of the Royal Ballet, took 20th century classical dance in a different direction. No longer was the story loosely constructed around big set pieces. He used dance in more subtle ways to portray humour, glamour and romance, and created what's now called the English style. Ashton's choreography is characterized by fleet footwork, lyricism and wit. No longer am I upright and on balance, as I was in Sleeping Beauty. Ashton weaves in body bends and swoops, which can leave you lightheaded. I'm rehearsing Frederick Ashton's 1961 ballet, The Two Pigeons, with Adam Cooper, who often danced with me in the Royal Ballet before he left to star in the very successful male version of Swan Lake. He's performed this ballet before, but this is my first time. I've invited Lynn Seymour, one of the biggest stars to emerge from the Royal Ballet, to take the rehearsal. Lynn has a unique insight into my role because Frederick Ashton created the ballet on her.
Relax your chin. You're late. Do you want to stop? Thanks. You just have to get on with that. Yeah. No melodramatic little holds and looks or anything. Just be a bit businesslike there. But getting up on your yes. Yeah, absolutely. Now let's see if we can't do it with a little more science or business-like intent. I don't like the head down, but what about looking at him? That's nice.
That makes sense, because then I'm going to try and kiss him.
No, it looks pretty. Now point it to the ceiling. Ping. That's it. Yeah.
70 years had passed since Aurora and the Sleeping Beauty, but very little had changed for the ballerina. Love and marriage were still at the heart of almost every ballet.
And the same with the other one. Oh.
Here, in The Two Pigeons, boy loves nice girl, succumbs to the temptations of wicked temptress, sees sense and runs back home. I play the forgiving girlfriend. In the scene we're rehearsing, I welcome him back without the balletic equivalent of a cross word.
With your leg
pushed up a bit. That way.
Yeah, I think that's what you do, but you're oh, that's much better. Oh, well done, Adam. Then you make your bowl. Let your chin go more, hon. Again, try and touch your knees when you make your little...
I took the chance to ask Lynn about Ashton and the two pigeons.
It's not this sort of rabid sexuality, this dance, you know, it's
There's not a lot of rabid sexuality in pigeons, really, is there? I mean, it's more sort of sweet and tender. I mean, it's quite interesting, because when it was made in the 60s, wasn't it? Which was real swinging London time, and out there people were getting all up to all sorts of things. Did you find it odd to be in the studio and to be so very sweet and reserved?
Quite honestly, it wasn't because of what was going on outside, really. I felt uncomfortable with this rather saccharine approach. So I decided to add a little touch of the hoyden, kittenish charms, I seem to remember in some... and a comedic sense, too, really quite outrageous. She was an extremely exasperating girl.
Ashton never really lived with women, I mean, at least not as a lover. I mean, he never shared a bathroom with a woman or lived through PMT or anything like that. I mean, where did his vision of women come from?
I think he had an extremely idealized woman in mind all the time.
How was he for the men?
Well, I think really rather terrific, because of course he adored men. And wanted them to appear their very, very best.
And looking masculine.
Looking masculine and restrained and all the rest of it, yes.
Looking more like real
men.
And he did
some very butchy stuff, you know. So it was the best of both worlds, really, for his dancers. He was in the